going on, everybody? Johnny Mac here. Welcome back to the channel. Today it's with a heavy heart that I have to cover this bit of news. They unfortunately announced that Lost Ark is going to be postponed until the first quarter of 2022. This isn't the type of news that we wanted to hear, as the bulk of the community was really looking forward to and expecting a closed beta announcement. We're going to be going and talking about this in some detail. But first, in order to understand and make sense of where things might be headed, we must first understand where things have been. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a deep dive here, guys. So make sure that you stay until the end of the video. We're going to be hitting a lot of very interesting topics and a lot of interesting facts that probably a lot of you aren't aware of about Amazon Game Studios. So let's go ahead and get on into it. So I urge all of you who are watching to join me in this journey as we explore the checkered past of Amazon Game Studios. In doing so, we will shed some light on current events that will hopefully help make sense of this recent announcement. Amazon Game Studios has been trying for 8 years to have a breakthrough into the gaming industry. But the truth of the matter is that its only success in the gaming market has been its acquisition of Twitch in 2014 for $970 million, after Google backed out of their deal to buy Twitch for $1 billion. This fact will set the overtone for the rest of the Amazon's business ventures into the gaming industry. The purchase of Twitch was an attempt to serve as a free market platform to sell Amazon's games. What's really interesting about Amazon Game Studios is that the head, Mike Frazzini, had never made or had anything to do with gaming before. Aside from being an Amazon lifer, he had no experience within the gaming industry at all. Several past and present employees who agreed to comment on their experiences within the company stated that Frazzini would often have their input simply dismissed. Frazzini was quoted as to having said that every Amazon game needs to be $1 billion franchise, but then would later understaff the projects. Then, instead of using industry standard development tools, would insist that they create their own. This was the case with the game Crucible, where they adapted and modified a pre-existing game engine and called it Lumberyard. Frazzini's lack of experience in the industry and general lack of knowledge proved to be quite evident during meetings when he demonstrated that he couldn't differentiate between in-game footage and hyper-polished conceptual footage. Moreover, Frazzini directed the team to design lesser versions of games that were making the most money at the time. League of Legends inspired Project Nova, which was canceled in 2017. Fortnite inspired Project Intensity, which was canceled in 2019. And Overwatch inspired Crucible, which was canceled in 2020. And last but not least, the Lord of the Rings MMO that was canceled in April. The one and only game that maintained course, yet not meeting any of its set deadlines, has been New World, which also has had 3 delays during its development cycle. When Crucible was shut down, they pulled the development team that was working on it and moved it over to the New World project. This was a bold step for them and one of the most fundamental right decisions, as Crucible was not well received. Gamescom came and provided a huge glimmer of hope for the Lost Ark community, as it had been anxiously awaiting news of a beta test since the closure of the closed technical alpha test. 3 days of Gamescom came and went without a single announcement about Lost Ark. Lost Ark didn't even receive an honorable mention, but New World did. New World went on to have a beta test announcement, which starts on September 9th. And one can easily say that they have talked about New World far more than Lost Ark. Despite the smooth alpha test, and despite the Lost Ark is already a developed game, Amazon spends $500 million per year on their gaming division, but they can't seem to complete a single gaming project. And this is a point that will be very important to consider in our later conversation. So the big question is what does this all mean and how does this affect the Lost Ark community? Well, first of all, you can't spend that kind of money over these past few years without getting some sort of return for that investment. We are talking about a very large corporation, a corporation that is known for throwing money around. But when you're talking about throwing the substantial amount of money that they're throwing around for their gaming division, their shareholders are going to be wanting answers. And if they keep failing to launch projects and bring projects to fruition, they're going to have to pay the piper. So usually that means one thing, and it's not looking good, guys. It's really not. Because at this point, they kind of have their eggs in one basket. They're putting all their bets, they're hedging everything on a successful launch of New World. New World has to succeed. If it doesn't succeed, I'm kind of afraid of what it's going to mean for Lost Ark. Because as Sywo himself said in his latest video where he was reacting to this announcement, you know, Lost Ark is not getting any younger. It is an older MMO. Now granted, you know, you can take a look at Final Fantasy XIV Online and you can look at World of Warcraft previously. You know, both of those games aged pretty well, except for, of course, World of Warcraft. We all know what that debacle has led to. But Final Fantasy XIV is a gleaming example of how well a properly fostered and well taken care of MMO can actually, you know, do, right? So it's obvious that they're doubling down on New World. And it was very apparent to me. I actually started working on this video and working on the script right shortly after Gamescom. When Gamescom aired and then went after 3 days, and there was not a single announcement or even an honorable mention about Lost Ark, I immediately saw the writing all over the wall. Considering the fact that there was, you know, various individuals that were more in the know than myself and more than most were expecting a beta test to be announced for the middle of July, and that came and gone, I immediately knew something was up. And considering Amazon's history of pulling resources and reallocating resources to other projects, it would not surprise me none if they pulled either part of or maybe even a good chunk of the current localization team to work on New World. Because with localization teams, you know, they're mainly in charge of doing translations and quest lines and so forth and so on, and making sure that they're something that we in America can relate to whenever it comes to translating a foreign game. Well, that's their specialty, is like quest lines and things like that. So it's a very good possibility that in order to provide extra polish to New World, those resources, those persons that are doing that may be temporarily reallocated to New World, making it virtually impossible to get any good progress done on Lost Ark. Now, do we give them the benefit of a doubt that they're looking out for the best interest of the people, us, as a community, and they do truly want to provide a good quality product? It's entirely possible. I'm not saying that it's not, and I'm not trying to badmouth Amazon Game Studios, but the facts are the facts, and the facts are they have yet to complete a single project other than the acquisition of Twitch. That has been their crowning achievement so far, is purchasing Twitch for a very exuberant amount of money. Other than that, they have no gaming community success. None at all. So, you know, even though Lost Ark is slated for early next year, we don't even know if we're even going to get a launch in the US. So much rides on the potential successful launch of New World that ultimately I feel like it renders the future of Lost Ark in the balance completely dependent on how well New World does. And that kind of sucks to a certain degree, guys, because, you know, one would think that it would be independent, but given how their resources are so intertwined, I just don't know if we can actually separate the two. I feel that they're more conjoined than what most people think. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's the pessimist in me coming out. I don't really know. But at this point, I think it's a fairly reasonable assumption. But, you know, it is what it is. I had already planned on covering New World here on my channel, so that part doesn't really affect me too much. But the big question is on everyone's mind is, you know, what do I do now? Well, the one option that stands out in my mind is to do what I've already been doing. Go over and play the Russian version of the game. I actually will link in the little card up in this corner, I do believe. I have a 5-minute guide on how to install and play the Russian version of Lost Ark. So if that's something that you feel that you would really like to do, go ahead and on over to that video. It literally shows you everything that you need to do. There's a guide for how to install the VPN and configure that, as well as it also gives you a code where you can save yourself 20 to 25%. It varies from time to time, but head on over to that video. That way you can get your Lost Ark fix. I also stream Lost Ark every Sunday morning. So if you want to come on over to the stream and say hello, I'll have a link to my stream in the description below. You're definitely more than welcome to come on over. We have a lot of fun. We'll talk about a lot of things and have a good time. And if you like this video and you want to see more from me, smash that like button and subscribe. And most importantly, hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching.